Hello everyone, how you doing? Paul79 here. Hands, yeah, I've noticed at the start of all these videos I do the old jazz hands sort of thing. Friend of mine said to me yesterday when I pulled up outside, he's the mechanic who looks after the cars. He said, "Hi, it's Paul79," like that. So yeah, sorry about that. I need to get some different sort of see, doing the hands again. I need to get a different sort of thing, don't I? Anyway, maybe do a Brucey. But yeah, I hope you're all safe and well. Obviously, I've got to say that every time now. And I just want to say thank you for everyone who posted some nice comments about that video I did yesterday. You know, the tribute to my dad. I enjoyed making it, and it was nice to talk about him and a lot of people. A lot of his table tennis friends I sort of sent the link to, and they were like, "Oh, I'm really glad you sent that. That was really nice." And yeah, so that's all good. But I'm feeling a lot better now. Yeah, it's been a tough couple of days, but yeah, all good, all good. I've put the pictures up there. I've got one there, and I've got one down there. So yeah, all nice. Before I begin, I just want to do a little shout out. There's a good friend of mine from work. Her name is Sissy, and she's, I reckon she's my #1 fan. And she saw the flyer that I posted up next to the coffee machine at work, and she was just like, "Oh, it's fantastic! It's brilliant what you're doing." So just like, yeah. So hi, Sissy. Thanks for your support. But what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to do something on cars. I'm going to talk about wing mirrors. So if you only tune into for my devilish good looks and my funny sense of humour, you can turn off now. But yeah, we're going to talk about wing mirrors. Now, having built, well, I'm on my fourth car. I've learned a few things over the years about wing mirrors. Discovered a few things about myself as well, and I don't like it when they wobble, right? Especially when people slam the doors on the cars. So yeah, it happens every now and then. It's normally the passengers, it's not me. But yeah, you know, slam the door too hard, and I'm like, you don't need to slam it that hard. Anyway, my girls and my wife have been on an extensive door closing course. It lasted a good couple of weeks, and I'm pleased to say they now have passed, and they know exactly how much pressure to apply to the door when you shut it so it doesn't slam. Now, I'll let you in on a little secret. So when I built the grey Porsche, the GT3, to be fair, I reckon the wing mirrors could have been slightly better, and they did sort of wobble. And like when you slam the door, I mean, I guess everything will wobble if you really slam stuff, but yeah, I wanted to, when I was building the white one, address that and make it better. Like I said, over the years I've learned a few things about wing mirrors and Porsches to that effect. Now, some of the earlier Porsches, what's happened is Porsche sort of change every, I don't know, 10 years. The mounting location of the wing mirrors on the cars. Some of the older ones, they're mounted further down on the door, and then the Boxsters, like the 986 and the 987, they changed the mounting point of them to the sort of triangle bit where the window is. I can't do it, but anyway, yeah, you know what I mean. So, like for example, this is an original Boxster 987. The 986 was similar, and you can see it mounts to, it's got this triangle bit that mounts, you know, where the window starts, like that. Now, having done the grey one, and I used the mirror, I mounted the mirrors on the doors, you know, the mirrors that you get with the kit, and I didn't do them very well, to be fair. I wanted to make sure that it didn't happen again when I did the white one, and in the end, you know what, I was just like, you know what, I'm going to use the original Boxster ones, right? I don't care if it's not like the actual GT3 RS. I just want them to be nice and solid and work and all that. I mean, it's nothing to do with the kit or anything like that. It's just my bad mechanics at the time. Anyway, so yeah, so this is one of the original Boxster 987 mirrors that, you know, we got painted. And if you look at some of the early video or early shots in the build diary and stuff like that, you'll see that I finished the car and I was driving it around and I had these mirrors on. Now everything was great, but it started to bug me, as all things does, because I really like the look of the car, but it wasn't, the mirrors just weren't right. And I'm like, what am I going to do? Anyway, in the end, I managed to get some mirror shells off eBay, and I think I finished the car in like June 2020, so you know, right in the middle of COVID. And then I took it off the road again, sort of when the weather got a bit chilly, and I put it back. I got the car back out here, and that's when I did the air ride as well, because I needed to do that. Put the coilovers on, and I thought, you know what, I'll try and fit the real mirrors, which I did, and it turned out beautifully. And if you look at the later photos of the car, yeah, it's how they're meant to be. It's just part of the car. But I've learned a few things over the years, sort of fitting them and how to do it. And what I'm doing on this latest one here, if I turn it, burp, burp, there you go, there's the one there. So what I'm actually doing, I'm actually fitting real RS mirrors to the Boxster 987. And what I'm going to do in this video is sort of talk about how I do that. It's a bit involved. To be honest with you, you spend a disproportionately long amount of time on these things, but you know, you want to get them right, because every time you drive that car, you're always having to open the door, aren't you, to get in it and then shut it. So you want to make sure those mirrors are good. Anyway, I'm going to start another section in just a section, so because I need to go to the toilet. See ya. Oh, this remote control. Right, okay, I've changed the camera. Here I am. Try not to get my big beer belly in the way. But anyway, these are, so let's start from scratch. So these are your Boxster mirrors, right? You can see, you know, there's a triangle and it bolts on the inside of the door with these 3 triangles here. And you'll see you have a plug and the wiring goes into the actual mirror. All the mirrors, they have 5 wires. Well, they don't all have them. You have this is your plug, obviously, that does your mirror moving, right? And then if your mirrors are heated, you'll have these other 2 connections that, you know, actually attach to the glass to sort of heat the mirror and clear the mist from it. And then what will go on there, what goes on here, is something like this, which is your mirror motor, right? Now this is actually from a 991, so these are the newer ones. I haven't got a Boxster one, and I seem to remember the Boxster ones are more square looking. Anyway, that effectively bolts to that, and then your mirror on the backing plate hugs round this thing, right? Anyway, so that's your Boxster mirror, right? So if you want to use the mirrors that come in the kits, these are them. They need a bit of cleaning up, but this is effectively how they work, and they come in 2 pieces, right? So, I mean, the thing with the RS is, you know, it had specially designed mirrors, probably because of aerodynamic reasons. But effectively, the general way you fit these kit mirrors to your car is, you know, you drill 3 holes here, and then you mount the original, you reuse the Boxster mirror motor, and you mount that on there. You'll have to run your wires through. There's a sort of a space here, like a groove, that you drill out, and then you'd run your wire through there. And then you've got what I call sort of like the feet. You attach this to the door. Imagine this is the door lying down here, so that's basically your door. You have a couple of screw holes through there, and you bolt it through like that, and so you attach that bit to the car first. And then the idea is you've got your mirror motor and your mirror in there with your wiring coming through that hole, and then you also then feed it through the hole there. And when you're ready to fit the car up properly, you glue these on, right? Now you can make modifications to them potentially, and I sort of did that on the grey car. I mean, it wasn't this shape, but you could perhaps, if you want to make the mirrors removable, if you ever want to, because you'd glue that bit together, you could sort of bond in some bolts like that so they stick out, and then bolt it from the inside and glue this before you mount it to the car. Totally up to you. It's just the way, it's whatever you fancy really. But yeah, you really do need those mirrors because they've got like this sort of hole in the middle, obviously, to let air through. So that's if you want to use the kit mirrors. What I have here is a 991 mirror, right, a proper mirror. So you can see they're slightly different. They're a bit more boring. They haven't got that sort of gap to let the air through. But you can see Porsche have designed it, and it mounts in a much different way. So the idea is the door has to have a big hole in it to slide this pointy bit through, yeah. And then if you look, you imagine, oh god, it's quite heavy. Oh, where are we? See there where my thumb is? There. That's a big screw hole, right? Or a bolt hole. And you can imagine that, you know, Porsche, you plop it in through the hole in the door, and then on the inside behind the door card, there's a big bolt to attach it. And the wiring all runs through down this sort of metal leg. Now, oh, and also these are quite flash. They've got like puddle lights in them as well. Anyway, I bought that as a sort of a trial to just have a look at how the 991s were and how they mounted. So yeah, I mean, I've never used it. I've just used it more as a reference point, to be fair. So that's what we got. We got one 991. That's your Boxster, and that's your kit one. Okay. Right. Let's see if this remote control works. Okay, so what we've got here is a real RS mirror. Oh, it's probably better looking at it that way. See, it's got the gap. And yeah, so these are only on, well, I don't know. Someone's going to correct me if I'm wrong, but these only seem to be on the GT3 RS. But I also realised, you remember the Cayman GT4? One version of them, sorry, I've got a bit of gas. One version of them had mirrors that shape as well, right? And I actually managed to buy two originals. This is, I can't even remember where it's from, to be fair. I mean, would you have a GT4? Would you have a Cayman GT4 in that colour? Sort of like that mauve colour? Anyway, doesn't matter to me. But yeah, so this is very much like the ones on the actual white car out the front, actually. Yeah, and this is how they'll be painted. You know, the bottom bit's black, and then this bit's the colour of the car. So yeah, but these are real mirrors, and I've mounted them in a very similar way to what Porsche does. And a friend of mine wanted to know where to cut the big hole. So I said to him, I said, you know what? I'm going to do a video on wing mirrors. So I'll do it this weekend. And then I'll take this one off, because these have been on for about 6 months. I'll take this one off, and then I'll do him a template so he can line it up against the edge of the door and the hole, so he knows where to do it. So I'm going to have to take this one off now. But yeah, you can see it's proper mirror. Oh, one other thing I need to bear in mind, or tell you, is these RS mirrors, and I don't know if it's the same on just the normal 991 ones, but they are handed, right? So you remember when you used to go on a caravan holiday, and your dad had or your mum, sorry, had a big mirror attached to the car so they could see really wide. Well, these mirrors are angled, right? So this is a right-hand drive car, right? So this mirror, or the whole sort of shape of it, is more like that. So you can see more of the car there. And then this one, you can see it. It's a lot more curved that way. So you can see more of the car that way. So if you look down on them, oh, look at me Crocs. I get a lot of stick for wearing Crocs, but they're fantastic, aren't they? See that angle there? That's like that. You imagine you're in the driver's seat on the other side. That's angled for a reason, like that. So it works better. But if I go around here, oh, well, there is not a lot in it, but that is a lot more. That one was more like that, this one's more like that, and that's the reason. So you know, you have to be careful. It is possible to use left-hand drive ones on a right-hand drive car, but what I found is, well, it might be all right, I don't know, because on the ones I did, on the white one, I just had the shells and I didn't mount it in the same way as the 991s are. I bought some brackets from Porsche to do it, but it's not quite the same, but they are pretty solid. And then for the mirror motor stuff, I reused the Boxster stuff, right? And I guess it's just the way I've mounted it, and I made it all by hand, you know, with screws and chewing gum. The mirror, the way it turns, because if you think about it, it's more that way on the other side, like this bit, the mirror frame, I need to have the mirror more like that. So this mirror part goes right to the edge there. It's fine, it works, it doesn't bother me, but yeah, that's one thing to bear in mind. If you find them on eBay, just the shells, and you're paying for them not in pounds, chances are they'd be for a left-hand drive car. Right, before I take it off, right, I wanted to sort of show you how it sits in situ, right? Now, what you can see here is this is the wiring I've made. So what I've done is I've extended the wires that were in the RS mirror, I extended it down, and I connect it via this way with these little spade connectors. Now I know you might think that's a bit rubbish, but bear with, because obviously this door, the inside of it was designed for mirrors to be here. The actual way you have to route, you know, the wire through, there isn't much room at all. And you need to also bear in mind that you're going to have a window that goes up here. So it's not like you can just bring it straight across this hole, right? Because the window, when it goes up, will hit it, yeah? I did think of that beforehand. It's not because I've, you know, mucked it up the first time I did it, but yeah, so the fact of the matter is you can't really put a nice big fat plug on here because you can't run the wire through. But basically the wire will come through and it will go along here on the inside, sort of over it's a double skin door as well, so it's a bit fiddly, but it's worth it. And you know, chances are you only have to put them on once and that's it. But yeah, that's what I've done, and it's all sort of got wire protectors on it and all that sort of stuff. And then this door keeps shutting because I've taken off the door stays. But yeah, what I've got here is I've completely stripped the door because it helped my friend Dave the painter that he doesn't have to do that. But yeah, what you can see now is, you see here we've got a nice big fat bolt, right? So that's going through that hole I showed you earlier with. And I've actually got a nice, I mean, you could use a normal washer, but I've got a nice big piece of metal that basically traps it in, and it is bolted to the inside of the door. I mean, let's have a look up here. Does that yield anything? Oh, I suppose you can just see it there. You can see the big sheet of metal that I've got there. Again, a bit basic, but it does the job, and it's a solid thick piece of sort of steel. It's like one of them things. It's one of them, just cut down, the hole made bigger, and yeah, it's pretty thick. What's that? That's a good 4mm. And so that's how the door is secured. Sorry, not the door, the mirror is secured to the door. And you can see now that I slam it, nothing wobbles. Not the glass, not that, and that is solid. I could probably stand on that. I'm not gonna do that, but obviously I reckon I could. But I'm never gonna try it. So I've undone that bolt ever so slightly. So now you can see that this sort of big plate washer thing, we call it, is loose. And now the mirror is loose, yeah? But yeah, beforehand, so obviously when I fit these up for real, what I'll do is I'll thread lock them. Another thing I forgot to say is in order to get your big spanner, your socket set through there, you're going to need to cut out a little bit of a hole here. I can't remember whether there was a hole there before. I think there was. Was there? I'm just looking at the other side. You can always tell which side was done first, right? Because here you can see I've done a massive hole, and over there, because I did that one second, see where my finger is, it's a lot neat and tidy. But anyway, you're going to need to cut this out, and again, this is a double skin door here, so you have to cut through 2 layers to get to it. But I thought I'd better show you that. So that was the plate washer thing that helps the whole thing stay in place. You see, it's a nice big fat bolt. It was a weird one. That head was a size 14. Normally thought it was a 13 or a 15, but I think that's an M8. All right. I'm going to be very gentle here because the mirror's now not secure. But what you can see now, oh, you can't. Let me where my finger is, right, is the hole on the bottom of the mirror, yeah, which is where that bolt goes into. And of course, you've got this plate that's gone across there that secures it in place, and it just literally pulls it together. It gets pulled in tight to the hole in the door and then pulled in there. But yeah, I'm quite pleased that I managed to work this out. And this is the way that, you know, all the later Porsches, they'll be mounted anyway in some form. It's just you don't need to cut a hole in your car. That hole will already be there. Right, I'm just getting the wire out, but what you can see, the way it is, you've got this sort of this will be a strength bar, and you see this hole here. I've had to drill that so the bottom of the mirror is a point, the mirror sort of mounting point, it's got a point in it, so it comes through that hole, which again gives it an extra bit of strength. But oh god, it's really wobbly, isn't it? But you see, here's a wire, and you can see how I've run it and it comes through behind that. You see that actually there's a bit of sawdust on that bit, a little white bit. You can see the mirror, the wire moving, yeah? That's how it comes, and it comes through there, and then it then comes up. Does it come up through there? Yeah, then it just comes through that hole there, the wire. So it's pretty simple, really. When you're there, you'll know what I mean. Just be careful about the door glass, yeah? You got to remember, you got to avoid the door glass. And make your wires nice and long, yeah? So you can go through all sorts of nooks and crannies and mount it up to the box to door wiring. Only me! Right. Oh, I've got to bend down here. So, the mirror's now on the bench. And I'm just wanted to show you a few things about it. So the actual mirror glass, that just the way that's secured, you see you've got little prongs, right, and they just hug around the actual circular mirror motor. And you know, this is all standard. I'm not going to need to change any of this, but yeah, the mirror is glued onto this plate. You can see here these brown wires here, this is for the heated part of the mirror, etc. I think I actually made an inquiry about them. Actually, no, looking at this, that's nothing to do with it. That might be the dimming thing, you know, because all these new cars, they dim. These two prongs here are for the heater, because the heated mirror part, because you can see here I've got a couple of little wires that go onto that. So yeah, no, that doesn't get connected up in my world. Never mind. Or maybe it does. I don't know. Look, I've got that there. Might as well connect it up when I do need to. Anyway, that's how it works. And these mirrors, nice solid, it fits lovely. Although I've got a bit of rubbish on that. I hope that's not a scratch. But yeah, they click in like that. We talked about the bolt. But yeah, so basically, oops. You imagine the bolt goes in like that and secures it. You can see you've got this pointy bit. That was about that hole I said you drill at the bottom. And what I found is this whole sort of bracket mechanism, I had to sort of smooth down here. You see here, it's silver. There were some extra sort of lugs on there, let's call them, but they sort of got in the way. But yeah, so you can see the mirror wire, the wiring comes through that hole in the middle of it, right, and comes through here. And I would have just extended the wires with wire connectors and then heat shrunk it all around just to make the wires longer. So we've got this lovely long thing. Obviously don't put these things on before you've threaded it through that hole, because then you'll have to undo your work. And then what I've noticed is, I think one of these mirrors that I bought, and I didn't have this on the white car when I was doing it, but they come with these sort of extra sort of mounting plates that go, let's thread it through. I bet I've done it the wrong way. Oh no, I haven't. But they come and they sort of sit there on it, and then the door's there. Now, they're not much from Porsche. I bought a load of brand new ones because, you know, I was going to muck around with it and ruin some of them. So, yeah. But it's like a bit of plastic and then 2 rubber grommets, are they called? But, yeah, I mean, I'm going to use them. I don't see why not. It makes the mirror sort of sit higher on the door, I guess. But, you know, all of this bit here will be painted satin black anyway. And then the rest of it will be Miami blue. A bit like my shirt. But yeah, that's effectively the mirror. Now, oops. Oh, it's your iPod. Kicked it. Right, hang on. So, this mirror motor, there's a big sort of long screw bolt here, star bolt thing. That, you can unscrew that and then that just lifts, pops the mirror motor off. And there's actually a video on YouTube about these mirrors because they are a work of art, I'm telling you. The way they have been designed, obviously they've got to be strong, but they've got to be strong with 2 thinner sort of mounts. So inside this are like these brackets that sort of, I was going to draw a picture, wasn't I? Yes. Pen. Oh, it's never a pen when you need one. It's a bit like when someone says, you're going to take the phone number down, and you go, you ready? And you go, yeah, but you're not really ready. So, ooh, come over here. So basically, at the bottom of this bit, there are these 2 brackets that one goes sort of up like that, and one's more like that. And they go on the inside of these things. And then there's your mounting plate with, I'm trying to draw this bit now, like that there with the pointy bit at the bottom. But you have these brackets, right, that go sort of on the inside of the mirror. And then all of this, you can see you've got holes here, blah, 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 blah. They bolt to, you screw the mirror outside bit to these brackets, right? Very, very clever. There is a YouTube video on there, right, which I use, where a guy basically bought carbon fiber versions of these shells, and it shows him sort of fitting them. And what you can see is, you can see how this whole mirror comes apart, because again, it is very clever the way it works. So I suggest, if you're going to do all of this, have a look at that video as well, because you can just, it just makes you understand how it's sort of designed and what bits you need to take apart, etc, etc. So yeah, so that's sort of, if I just show you that, that's sort of behind the scene. That's like, let's call it, that's the skeleton of the mirror. Yeah, let's get it up there. Yeah. And when I did the white car, the mirrors, because I bought just these shells, so just the mauvey bit, not mauve, beige, because I just bought the beige bits, right? And I didn't have any of this big bit at the bottom. But what I did is I bought just these brackets from Porsche, which were not a lot of money. I really can't remember how much they are, but I had to buy a few because, so what I then did is, because these brackets have got like a base, and I just screwed them to the outside of the door. Imagine that's the door like that there, yeah? I actually just screwed them, and well, I actually riveted them there because I didn't have this pointy bit here because I didn't have the full mirror. And then, in fact, I only bought one actually bracket. I only bought the bottom one, I think, but I managed to make it work. Took a while, but it worked. Right. So that's that bit. So finally, the only other bit to really show you is the hole, right? So this is how the later Porsches are. This is how the doors are. They have a hole like that, and the whole thing goes through and mounts properly. Now, what do I need to, so yeah, if you looked on a second-hand, if you looked on eBay for a second-hand 991 door, it would look like this with this hole. So a couple of things about this. These doors are double skinned. So you can see we've obviously got the outside metal, excuse me, and then where my thumb is then touching, well, you can probably see it there, there's another layer. So I had to basically cut that first hole, and then I had to cut that second hole. Absolute pain in the bottom to do, to be fair. I mean, you draw your hole, do some drill bits, and really in the end I had to grind the whole thing out. I had to do lots of drill holes like that, right round like that, because you can't get a jigsaw in there or anything like that. You might be able to hand cut it, but it's a bit of a, it is hard work and it takes a lot of time, but it's worth it. So yeah, so you've got a nice hole there, and then you have to cut through further, and then you can just sort of see how the double skin is. Now that hole that's underneath it, where my finger's touching now, in theory doesn't need to be as wide as this hole here on the outside of the door. But then yeah, you can see I drilled the hole there for the pointy bit to rest in, and then I had to drill a hole there so I can get the bolt through. So where's my finger? Get my finger in there. There you go. So imagine that's, oh, it looks a bit rude. That's the bolt coming through there. Why that is cut out, I don't know. It might have just been a function of the way I did it with the power file. So I used the power file for a lot of this. I can imagine on the other side it's not as nasty. But yeah, that's it. So I mean, when I get the door painted, you know, they will just finish that off and tidy it up a bit. But yeah, it will just look nice on the outside, and you can imagine the actual mirror. Let's get a pen. When the mirror sits in place, it's, oh God, it's not that big. It's more like that, yeah? So the mirror sits on there like that. So I had that, hang on, I got the pen lid in my mouth. But yeah, that's it really. You know, and it just sits in there, and it's a real solid way of mounting them. On the 986 Boxster, I discovered they're not double skinned, so that's an enhancement on the 987, right? That the doors are double skinned, right? I was thinking, you know, maybe if you do one of the GT3 replicas on a 986 Boxster and you want to do it like this with double skin doors, you could maybe make a 987 door fit. It might work, you know. Thing is I looked at a 981, so a Boxster 981, which has the mirrors mounted like this with the hole. The annoying thing about the 981 is, if you actually look at it, the door is not flat like that. It actually caves in, right, because of the way they designed it. Because that's what I was going to do first of all, is basically just buy a 981 door and make that fit. But I mean, you can make anything work, but you know, it would involve me having to make this door come out here so it was flush with that. So, but anyway, I love cutting holes in things. So so there you go. I hope that's been helpful. So that's about it really. So funny. So I took that mirror off. I hadn't taken it off for like 6 months, and then I found a bit of the metal that I cut out. So you can see what I've done there. Sorry, let's look at the camera. You can see I've got, these are all drill holes, and then I've just basically drilled it out and then neatened it up with the power file. Found found a broken drill bit as well. So yeah, there you go, straight in the bin. But yeah, I hope that's been helpful. Don't be scared of it. It's a lot of work, but it's worth it. If you're a bit worried about it, do what I did. So with the white one, what I did is I actually just bought a second-hand Boxster door, right, as a sort of a trial thing. You know, it was like 50 quid off eBay. So you don't ruin your good doors. Doesn't matter the quality of the door, doesn't matter whether it could be rusty, scratched, doesn't matter. Yeah, because all you're doing is working out where to drill that hole. And the thing is, when I did the white one, I bought a door, and of course I fitted it differently, as I said earlier, with the brackets, and just riveted them. So I did a test fit on that. And then when I did that with the hole, the big hole, of course I'd never done that before. I had a good idea, but I bought another door. So there are 2 now unusable box to 987 doors at my local rubbish dump. So but yeah, it's worth it. It's worth it so you don't ruin it, because chances are the door that you've got on your car that you're building is a good one and you want to keep that one. So yeah, and I just emailed the breakers. I just said, look, I just need a door, because often, you know, they take cars in and the door's dented, right, and they can't sell it. So, you know, you get a chance to get something that's a real good sort of deal, because all you need is that top corner of the door, you know, where you drill the holes through. So any road, I'm going to sign off now and make this video on my old computer. I'm gonna have a curry tonight. Been really looking forward to it. Haven't had much, haven't done really much today. I've actually been trying to troubleshoot something on my white car, because it started this annoying habit that when I turn the ignition off, the horn beeps, right? And I don't know what it is. I've Googled it, I've looked on all the forums. You know, a lot of people say, oh, it's because this is doors left open or the boot's left open. It's not that, because on the 987, if you leave the door unlocked or the boot open, it chirps, like it goes, it's a beep, whereas this is a horn beep. So I don't know, so it might be the battery. I took it to Halfords actually earlier, and I said, can you do a battery test? And the guy come out and went, oh right, okay, yeah, GT3 RS, nice. That's not the right battery for a GT3 RS. I said, mate, it's a 17-year-old Boxster. He goes, no. But he didn't sort of listen. And then he was banging on about, oh yeah, the Porsches should have these AGM batteries, etc, etc. But yeah, you know, fair play to him. He said, like, no, actually, you've got the right battery, and I think you just need to charge it. But it's holding charge, but it's flat. So who knows? I've got it on charge down there. I'm going to stick it back in, but I might have to buy a new one. Anyway, I'm talking too much again. So I will see you next time. Take care, stay safe, stay well, and all the best. Oh, use remote control.